So apologies for the drop in quality on this video. Basically because I don't know how long it's going to go, and how the last video being only 10 minutes nearly took up half a gigabyte, and where I send the files over for Owen to be uploaded, there's sort of a limit of 2 gigabytes. I'm just dropping the quality to just sort of try and make sure it's got a likelihood of actually going up, because it's going to be a long one because I've got a lot of Indy stuff to cover from the past few weeks, and then obviously what's coming up this weekend that you might be able to go to. So we'll start off with the New Japan stuff. It's the stuff that doesn't really have television, but at least it's got live events. So, what have we missed? Well, New Beginning in Osaka was back on the 10th of February. I guess this is the February roundup. I guess that's what I could put it as. The big stuff that came from that was El Desperado and Kanemaru basically indicating that they want Sho and Yo for the junior tag belts. They beat them and then kept going, targeting Sho's injured back from the previous matches, leading to the Boston Crab submission that happened. So there's a storyline possibly for down the line. I'm guessing Sakura Genesis. Anyway, we'll get to that. Then Makabe, Togi Makabe, won the 4-on-4 match between him, Elgin, Kushida and Taguchi versus Suzuki-gun, with Suzuki himself as well as Azuka, Taichi and Taka. Makabe basically once again said, put the title on the line against me, and Suzuki was like, fine, and they brawled to the back. Well, they brawled until they were separated, but I think it started up again in the back or something. Then, at the midway point, Rey Mysterio showed up in a video saying he's challenging Jushin Thunder Liger to a match at Strong Style Evolved on March the 25th. And Liger was on commentary, said, yeah, first time in over 20 years they faced each other. Should be good. And then in the Chaos versus LIJ stuff, Bushi beat Gedo, Naito beat Yoshihashi, but then Taichi ambushed Naito afterwards. Will Ospreay defended the junior heavyweight title against Hiromu Takahashi. Very good match. Goto beat Evil. Again, good match. And then another good match as well, with Okada retaining once again over Sanada. His 10th successful defense. And then, because New Japan is next, because the New Japan Cup's next, that he's going to be in, Honest, he wants a champion versus champion match with Will Ospreay at the anniversary show. Which in the backstage interview he accepted. And then the great thing is afterwards he's like, you know, because obviously Will did his promo in English, and the commentators were like, what did he say? And apparently Okada went, I have no idea what he just said. There we go. Then they had the 4-day tour in Australia. Heading to Adelaide on night 1. Melbourne on night 2. Sydney on night 3. And Perth night 4. I don't believe any of those matches were title matches. They were just showcase sort of matches featuring New Japan talent, both facing each other, and also up against some of the actual Australian talent that was part of the promotions that they paired up with for these deals. It's interesting to note that WWE, all of a sudden there was a rumour that they're going to try and run some big old, like, 100,000 seat stadium if possible in Australia. Do you think they feel threatened? Ever so slightly. So, the Ring of Honor stuff happened. Nothing, I mean, there were some New Japan titles on the line in that, which obviously stayed where they were. But I'll mention that in the Ring of Honor stuff, because obviously there was much more Ring of Honor stuff. So we'll touch on that again. The big stuff, though, is what's coming up for them. So this coming Tuesday, the 6th, is the anniversary show. The big stuff from this, Kitamura's 7-match trial comes to a close as he faces Manabu Nakanishi in match 7. There's going to be a junior tag title 3-way match, because apparently it wasn't good enough for Kanemaru and El Desperado. So the other team is Bushi and Hiromu Takahashi. That's an interesting pairing. I can see Sho and Yo winning that. If it was a one-on-one match, yes, but weird how they added it. Goto and Yoshihashi versus Evil and Sanada. I don't know whether that's even happening, because I don't know whether Evil's injured or not. He's certainly not in the New Japan Cup, which we'll get to. So whether that means he's out of that as well, I'm not sure, because I haven't seen any notice since whether that is. So I'd say, because I haven't got any updated notes on it, I'd say possibly, but because it's a tag match with like no titles on the line, I can sort of figure that probably could happen. We're getting Naito versus Taichi, so there's the build-up there. Suzuki's challenged by Makabe for the Intercontinental title, and then in the special champion versus champion showcase, not for titles or anything, Okada versus Ospreay. Let's hope Ospreay wins, because, you know, it's very rare for Okada to lose. So, in a one-on-one match, when there isn't a title on the line, there's a little bit of an excuse to do that. So we'll see. I'm just trying to see if Jay White's on that show. Doesn't seem to be. So I have to see. But however, they also announced this week the New Japan Cup listings and brackets. So it starts next Friday. I'll be running through it again next week, whenever, you know, whether this is pre-recorded or live. So as it stands from top left to bottom right, so from the left to the right, on the left side of the bracket, day 1 on Friday the 9th, we got Yujiro versus Juice Robinson and Ishii versus Elgin. On the lower left bracket, we've got Bad Luck Fale and Lance Archer, 1-on-1, and also Hiroshi Tanahashi and Taichi. Yes, Tanahashi's long-term injury apparently has only put him out for like a month and a half-ish. So, there's a thing. I'm a bit confused by that. Then, on the upper right bracket, on the Sunday the 11th, we've got Ibushi versus Yoshihashi and Naito versus Zack Sabre Jr. That's the strongest day and the strongest section of the bracket, I would argue. And then Monday the 12th, the bottom right, we've got Toru Yano and Davey Boy Smith Jr. and Sanada and Chucky T, replacing the injured Trent, which is ironically what was done by Chucky T in PWG. Irony of ironies. As he rightfully tweeted out, and I think, you know, even Owen joked about it when we did the Monday Raw thing. Or, no, not Monday Raw. Sunday for the Elimination Chamber. He actually did tweet, apparently, when it got announced and everything, yeah, I injured him and took his place. Because he's heel now in PWG. We'll get to that. Oh, that's mighty cold. Just because it's bloody cold over here. The quarterfinals will be a few days later, on Wednesday the 14th and Thursday the 15th of March. And I'm guessing the semi-finals and the finals are all on the 21st. Doesn't seem to be any clear listing as to where the semi-finals are on the pictures that I've seen. I think they've done semi-finals and finals before they're on the same night, so we'll see. And that'll obviously head into the Strong Style Evolve show. The only matches that we know of so far for that card are the previously mentioned Mysterio and Liger, but they added this week, because of what went down on the Honor Rising shows, the Young Bucks versus the Golden Lovers of Ibushi and Omega. So, yeah, that's looking interesting. I'll get into more of that when we get to the Ring of Honor stuff, because there was some Ring of Honor related stuff that went on that more so. So, next, all the rest of the stuff. We're jumping to and from 5-Star Wrestling for a bit, because obviously they got the weekly shows. So the Newcastle show from the 8th. The things to note from the show, Max Money became the inaugural tag team champs. Adam Maxted and Charlie Sterling beating El Ligero and Jody Fleisch. Rob Van Dam beat Zach Gibson by DQ, because obviously Gibson attacked him because, you know, he's not a British wrestler, he's an import. All that sort of stuff. Rey Mysterio beat Mark Haskins by DQ. I think, again, there was some sort of stuff with Zach Gibson. And then the big surprise at the main event, Jake Hager, Jack Swagger, whatever you want to call him, beat John Morrison to become the new 5-star champ. So we'll go back to them in a minute. From the 10th, Preston City Wrestling had their Road to Glory show. The quarterfinals for the singles tournament was Dean Allmark over Adam Brooks, Apollo Crews over Yestin Reese, Moose beat Sheik El Sham, and Zack Sabre Jr. beat Matt Riddle. And then the tag team tournament quarterfinals on the afternoon show. It was Big T and Tal Banham over Joey Hayes and Danny Hope. Team single of Tyson T-Bone and Rampage Brown beat Polo Promotions of Jackie Polo and Mark Coffey. Interracial Love of Ashton Smith and Charlie Sterling beat the Kings of Leon of Lionheart, or Kings of Leon, I guess, whatever you pronounce it. Charles Samuels and Lionheart. And Sugar Dunkerton and Matt Brooks beat the henchmen of Jim Diehard and Benton Destruction. Great names. Then in the evening show, continued on. So, in the single stuff, Dean Allmark beat Zack Sabre Jr. Somewhat of an upset, I guess you could say there. Then again, 2 cruiserweights, and the current cruiserweight champ sort of proving his way. And Apollo Crews beating Moose in the other semi. And then in the tag semis, Big T and Tal Banham beat Dunkermania and Matt Brooks and Sugar Dunkerton. And then team single of Tyson T-Bone and Rampage Brown beat Interracial Love of Charlie Sterling and Ashton Smith. Afterwards, Charlie Sterling beat down Ashton Smith. So, Interracial Love is no more. It's all over. Then, in some non-tournament action, we have Matt Riddle beat Adam Brooks, and in an 8-person tag, Rio, Arcadian, Danny Hope, and Joey Hayes beat Jenny B, Yestin Reese, Sheik El Sham, and Alexander Price. Then, in the tag team tournament final, team single were victorious. The Tyson T-Bone, who is the PCW heavyweight champ, I need to mention it certainly for here, for what comes down. And Rampage Brown beat Big T and Tal Banham. So they are the new PCW tag champs. Afterwards, Lionheart attacked T-Bone. So Tal Banham had the opportunity to cash in his Money in the Bank briefcase to try and get a shot, but Rampage Brown made the save, so that wasn't cashed in. And then in the Road to Glory final, it was Dean Allmark beating Apollo Crews to win the tournament. So congrats to him. ICW had the Square Go, the 30-man Rumble with added weapons, and also their TV tapings. So from the Square Go show itself, James Storm won the #1 contenders match in a Falls Count Anywhere contest over Jack Jester. The Session Moth beat Casey with thanks to a little bit of interference from her beau. To become the new ICW Women's Champ. Rampage Brown and Ashton Smith retained the tag belts over the Purge of Stevie James and Crowbar. BT Gunn beat Bram to retain both the 0G and World Heavyweight titles, the Undisputed Championship, if you will. And the Square Go was won by number 29, Stevie Boy. Moose was in it, from what I remember from some of the surprises. Can't remember some of the other ones, but yeah, Stevie Boy goes over. And then, apparently in the backstage, got destroyed by Red Lightning's crew. So there you go. So then, with the TV tapings, the night after, Jordan Devlin beat Kid Fight, Big Grizzly over Wolfgang, Mikey Whiplash beat Jody Fleisch, then Viper beat the Session Moth to win the women's title, and in released video since then, in an interview, Viper did say, it's not a world title though yet, is it? I might have to do something about that, and she walks off. So I think the ICW Women's title might be defended in Stardom, or wherever else she goes in the world. So we'll see. That's promising. The Force Count Anywhere match between Chris Renfrew and Joe Hendry never finished, so that's good. Even though Force Count Anywhere, so be it. DCT over Joseph Connors. The Filthy Generation, Stevie Boy and the Kings of Catch beat Mark Coffey, Kenny Williams and Aaron Echo. BT Gunn defeated James Storm to retain the Undisputed titles. But then afterwards, Mikey Whiplash attacked BT Gunn and spoke about being the original Undisputed champ. And BT Gunn in turn said, okay, prove it. Barrowmania 4 at the Barrowlands. You versus me for the titles. So it's down. The other thing that came out of it, Jackie Polo announced his retirement, only for Lionheart to come out, and they had a pretty big feud, at least last year or a few years back. And Lionheart basically challenged him to another match, which may or may not actually be the main event at Barrowmania, so we'll see what happens there. Pro Wrestling Eve had a couple of shows. The first show on the 10th, Kick 'em in the Stereotypes, their regular show at the Resistance Gallery in Bethnal Green. On this one, we had Rhea O'Reilly, Laura Di Matteo, and Addie Starr beat Jamie Hayter, Charlie Evans, and Aisha Raymond. Viper over Jocelyn. Caitlin Diamond won the four-way elimination over Candy Floss, Leah Owens, and Aaron Angel. They announced Jetta versus Nicole Matthews for the Wrestle Queendom show in May. In the ladder match qualifier, Nina Samuels beat Martina the Session Goth. She's no longer a moth. Apparently she goth. A bit random. And Sami Zayn and Kaylee Ray beat Toni Storm and Charlie Morgan. We'll get to the other one in a minute. So Progress Wrestling Chapter 63. Take Me Underground from Manchester. Drew Parker beat Spike Trivet in the National Progression Series first round match. Toni Storm and Charlie Morgan beat Shikara and Nina Samuels. And afterwards, Charlie Morgan turned on Toni Storm. Mark Andrews then beat Flash Morgan Webster. So this was interesting, because Vicky Haskin showed up, that's apparently been an influence for Webster. It distracted him enough, allowing Andrews to hit the win. But then Eddie Dennis showed up afterwards and laid out Andrews before the ring crew came and got rid of Eddie Dennis. Zack Sabre Jr. beat Tyler Bate. Then, when we got to the second half of the show, Jack Sexsmith came out to speak to the crowd, and he's cashing in his guaranteed title opportunity to challenge Travis Banks, or I guess whoever the champion is, for the main event of Chapter 69. Because of course he is. Let me see which one that is. Because, of course, the complicated thing about that is... Chapter 69 is the Oasis won't be here now, so when they're back up in Manchester, so there we go. British Strong Style of Pete Dunne and Trent Seven beat the Bro Ducks of Matt Riddle and David Starr. Volta retained the Progress Atlas title over Mark Davis. Jimmy Havoc and Mark Haskins won the tag titles over the grizzled young veterans of Zach Gibson and James Drake, with a little assistance from Flash Morgan Webster there. And Travis Banks beat TK Cooper and Chris Brooks by submission in the freeway. Afterwards, Banks gave both Cooper and Brooks handshakes. Brooks then offered one to TK Cooper, but Cooper just slapped him and left. So, clearly, there's respect for Banks, because South Pacific Power Trip, and obviously, the kid Lycos Chris Brooks stable that I can't remember the name of, off the top of my head. CCK. But clearly, between SPTT and ZCK, there's clearly still some dissension there. We'll get back to Progress. MLW's road to the world title from the 8th. Quite a lot of non-tournament action to lead off. Santana Garrett beat Lacey Lane. Destino Negro over Mega Dancer. Seth Petrozelli and Simon Grimm, defeating Jason Cade and Jimmy Utah. Loki over Koto Brazil. Chelsea Green over Priscilla Kelly via DQ. Austin Aries over ACH. And a 23-second squash with Barrington Hughes and Mike Parra over Ivo Saber and Vandell Ortegan. And then 4 first-round matches in the MLW title tournament. Jimmy Havoc over Maxwell Jacob Friedman. Shane Strickland over Brody King. Tom Lawler over MVP. And Matt Riddle over Jeff Cobb. The key thing to note about this, though, Tom got injured. Filthy Tom Lawler got injured at a show, I think last week, sort of like the weekend of the 22nd to the 24th. No, 23rd to the 25th. I'm trying to get my dates right. So, at least I think it was on a show. I'm not sure, but I certainly saw the tweet with his broken leg. So he's sort of out of action. So ACH will be taking his place in the tournament for the March 8th show, which obviously I'll be talking about next week. And the main event in the hardcore match, Darby Allin beat Sami Callihan. CWF Mid-Atlantics, CWF Strong. The big stuff going on down here, I would argue. Cool J retaining the Rising Generation League title over All-Star Mace Lee and Jerry Carey. Well, it might be a one-on-one match because Coach Gemini and Jerry Carey might have been, or Jerry Carey, were probably in his corner. Rick Converse in a non-title match beat Snooty Fox by pinfall. The Dawson brothers opened up an open challenge for the tag belts, which was answered by Faye Jackson and Aaron Biggs, but the Dawsons retained. And Shane Hurricane Helms beat Brad Attitude to retain the CWF TV title. We'll get to CWF again, because quite a lot of people had 2 shows over the month of February, which is an interesting move. Speaking of which, CZW, their 19th anniversary show. The big stuff from this one, I might go through all this one, because some interesting stuff went down all the way. Brandon Kirk beat Joey Janela. Dan Barry won the 6-man scramble to qualify for Best of the Best after WrestleMania weekend. I think, well, mid-April, that is, the 14th, I think. Maxwell Jacob Freeman defeated Alex Colon to retain the Wired title, but then afterwards Alex was attacked by Mr. Claxton. Ace Romero beat Greg Excellent in the Ultraviolent Dog Collar match. Larry Legend was inducted into the Hall of Fame by Maven Bentley. Blackout of Ruckus and Robbie Marino. What the hell just happened. Jesus. Yes, that Robbie. And also Christy Rivera's out there as well. Anthony Ngon beat Joe Gacy in the 30-person #1 contendership battle royal for the world title. It looked like Penelope Ford won by throwing out DJ Hyde, who was number 30, I think, just randomly. However, what most people forgot is, like, early on when Maxwell Jacob Freeman was in, he basically got in the face of Shellac, tried to pay him off, and he attacked him. And basically, from what I can tell, he just disappeared under the ring and hid. So he eliminated Penelope, his former beau, if you will, and yeah, he will get a shot at the CZW title somewhere down the line. The rep of Dave McCall and Nate Carter retained the tag belts over Angsty Ellis and Handsome Charlie. And in the main event, the 6-man Lucha Extrema, it was the faces of Ricky Shane Page and Lucha Brothers winning over the Killer Cult, OVE, OI4K, whatever they're called now, of Sami Callihan and the Chris Brothers. And then finally, from that weekend, Ring of Honor. Honor Reign Supreme, the show from Concord, North Carolina. I'd say the big stuff from this, in terms of titles, Silas Young retained the TV title over Josh Woods. SoCal and Sensitive, Scorpio Sky and The Addiction beat Dalton Castle and the Boys in a 6-man tag match. Mandy Leon and Tennille Dashwood, former Emma, making her debut for Ring of Honor, beating Kelly Klein and Stacey Shadows. Jay Lethal beat Jonathan Gresham. Also, Punishment Martinez over Flip Gordon, Kenny King over Shane Taylor. The Kingdom of Taven, TK, Orion, and Vinny beat the Bullet Club of Hangman Page, Marty Scurll, and Cody Rhodes. And then the Young Bucks beat the Best Friends in the main event. Then for the TV tapings, a Future of Honor match saw Sal Rinauro and J-Rock beat Ghost and Chad Skywalker. A Battle Royal with the final two competing in a singles match for the TV title shot. The final two were Shane Taylor and Travis Gordon, or Flip Gordon, whatever you want to call him. So that'll be happening. That happened later on in the night. The Young Bucks beat SoCal and Sensitive, Kaz and Scorpio Sky, with Daniels attacking after the match and Page making the save. Kenny King beat Silas Young to win the TV title again. Briscoes beat the Best Friends, and the Machine Guns attacked the Briscoes afterwards. Adam Page beat Christopher Daniels, with Shane Taylor attacking Page afterwards. Punisher Martinez and Marty Scurll. Punisher Martinez versus Marty Scurll and Jay Lethal versus Dalton Castle were then made official for the anniversary show in a week or so. Yeah, next weekend, the 9th and 10th. Well, 9th is the actual show. 10th is the TV tapings after. The match with Jay Lethal and Dalton over Punishment Martinez and Marty Scurll. Lethal and Castle won after Scurll accidentally threw powder in Martinez's eyes, and Scurll got pinned with the lethal injection. Josh Woods beat Gladiator Jeremiah in an Honor Club exclusive match. You know, that subscription servicing. Tennille Dashwood then beat Stacey Shadows to progress on in the Women of Honor tournament. Beer City Bruiser and Kingpin beat Brian Over and Eli Asom. Then Flip Gordon beat Shane Taylor in #1 contenders match for the TV title. Scorpio Sky attacked Flip Gordon afterwards. The Bucks ran him off. The Bucks offered a handshake, and Flip turned it down. So there's interesting stuff there. Coast to Coast beat the Dogs, and then Kingpin and Beer City Bruiser, who were on commentary, attacked them afterwards. And the Bullet Club beat Bad Influence and the Kingdom in a 10-man tag when Cody pinned Vinny from the Kingdom. Kingdom and SoCal brawled afterwards. And then Cody says, look, the Bullet Club's fine. And one of the Bucks says, it's only fine with Kenny. And the Bucks and Marty leave. So they're building enough towards, clearly, people are making out because Kenny isn't in the New Japan Cup, he must be injured. I honestly think it's because he's going to be at Ring of Honor's anniversary show in some shape or form. Because they've got to build it on TV. They can't just like, the only way you can understand the build-up is watching Being the Elite, because not everybody's going to do that. So I think that's the angle that they're going, and that's why Kenny isn't in Japan. I'm calling that. We'll obviously find out next weekend, but we'll get to that. So now we jump back to 5-Star Wrestling. The week 3 of the stuff. This time it was in Sheffield. So I'd say the big stuff on this, Zach Gibson attacked Rey Mysterio because, well, basically it was a match between Rampage Brown and Rey Mysterio, but Zach Gibson basically caused it a no contest, but Rob Van Dam made the save. The Modcast, hosted by Flash Morgan Webster, was gate-crashed by the Masters of Cool of Carlito and Chris Masters. Because it was supposed to be Colt Cabana that was the guest. But basically, Colt got attacked by them, and Grado made the save. And Grado and Colt Cabana beat the Masters of Cool. Jake Hager beat Ryan Hunter by submission to retain the 5-Star World title. If it is a world title, whatever. 5-Star Championship. Jake Hager beat Ryan Hunter. Joe Hendry, who wasn't even supposed to be wrestling, got taunted into a match and beat Big Grizzly in doing so. Because, of course, he's prepping up for the Commonwealth Games while still doing wrestling. PJ Black beat Flash Morgan Webster. Max Money retained the tag belts over the UK Hooligans of Zack and Roy Knight. And then Rampage Brown and Zach Gibson versus Rob Van Dam and Rey Mysterio went to a no contest because of Max Money coming out, then attacking RVD and Mysterio, and then Grado and Colt Cabana made the save. Can you see that they're going for an 8-man tag? We'll see. So Defiant Wrestling's Chain Reaction. Wow. This show was a bit, from what I've heard. So Zach Gibson beat Rampage. Drake came out wanting to kill all gimmicks and wants a gimmick to kill. And here comes Amir Jordan with his Muslim gimmick, even though he is Muslim. Drake beat him. Gabriel Kidd beat Jen Simmons with a help from Prince Amin, because I guess because Pastor Williams injured, screw that storyline. Then Joe Hendry shows up, calls out Stu Bennett, and basically wants to be on Team Defiant. And he says, look, I'll even put the restraining order against Travis Banks, and rips it up. And Bennett goes, I'm afraid I've got some bad news, of course. You're not on the team. I've got him. And then immediately, because Hendry is brilliant, he's like, has anybody got any sellotape? I need to tape this back together. It's like, I don't think he successfully did. El Ligero and David Starr over Chris Brooks and Mike Bailey. It was then announced that Brooks, Bailey, Starr and Banks will be in a 4-way match for the vacant internet title that they had to strip off Zack Sabre Jr. because, you know, he ain't going to be showing up for a bit because of other commitments. That is on the Defiant Wrestling television YouTube thingy, which I guess I'll be reviewing on the TV stuff in the next video. South Coast Connection of Ashley Dunn and Kelly Six beat the Hunter brothers of Jim and Lee in an ODQ match. And then it was revealed that Rampage Brown was going to be the 5th member of Team Defiant. Then Millie McKenzie beat Kaylee Ray to become Defiant Women's Champion. Congrats to her. I'm amazed they put her over the way they have done, though, with that little build. Which I feel is a shame, because She's been worthy of some recognition in quite a few places already, so it's a shame it's also on this thing, which is not getting as many eyes as it was, in all honesty. And then the Team Defiant Team IPW thing, unsurprisingly, Team Defiant won, because obviously nobody gave a crap about the IPW angle. So it was Kirby, Primate, Banks, BT Gun and Rampage for Defiant, and IPW was Aries. It's brilliant. They have to list them as Defiant World, IPW World, Impact Global, and Impact Grand Champion. It's a bit of a mouthful. Just say a guy with a lot of belts, please. So it was Aries, Haskins, Aussie Open, and Mark Davis and Carl Fletcher, and Chief Deputy Dunn. So Primate was eliminated first, followed by Fletcher from Aussie Open, then Deputy Dunn. So it's a 4-on-3 advantage for Defiant. Then Davis eliminated Gunn and Aries eliminated Travis Banks. So 3-2 to IPW. Kirby then managed to eliminate Aries, evening it out. Then Haskins took out Kirby. And then Rampage eliminated Davis and Mark Haskins, and they win. And from what I've seen, at least from the single segment bits that they've cropped out of the Defiant show, apparently the IPW team has completely imploded and whatever. So it's like, great. So you had this storyline going for what? At least in terms of Defiant Wrestling YouTube shows, 7 weeks, let's say, and it's already over. Yeah, you really didn't know what you were doing, did you? Rev Pro in Portsmouth. In terms of the big stuff on here, because I won't run through everything, because again I'm noticing the time. Curtis Chapman, David Starr to retain the Cruiserweight title for Rev Pro, and the British Heavyweight title was retained by Zack Sabre Jr. over Trent Seven. OTT's Contenders show. I'd say the big stuff on here, Polo Promotions beating Club Tropicana, Jordan Devlin, the No Limits champion, non-title action, beating Kip Sabian, and the Kings of the North beating More Than Hype in the main event. So here's the IPW UK show from last week, actually, the 21st. Because they do their shows on a Wednesday, it's always that we have to cover it. If I was doing, a live show on Wednesday night, we'd have to cover it the week before, because they do it literally like hours before the show would go on air. So it sort of comes and doesn't fit exactly. So Cara Noir beat Kip Sabian by DQ. So by default retains the Z-Force title, because the Collective, the tag champs for IPW, attack Cara. Shah Samuels beat Adam Maxted to win the All England Championship. It was an open challenge that Shah accepted. Nick Aldis beat David Starr by submission to retain the NWA World title. Yeah, that was on an IPW show. I have no complaints. It's just a bit weird. But, there you go. Billy Corgan. Or William, whatever Corbin he's going by, his name is. Luke Phoenix over Jordan Devlin. The Collective, in a 6-man tag match, beat Amir Jordan and Never Say Die. And then Austin Aries beat Mark Haskins to retain the IPW World title in the main event. Afterwards, Aries spoke to Haskins about, hesitation and don't hesitate. Haskins attacked Aries immediately after. Then Jimmy Havoc showed up for the first time in a while, separated the two, only to hand Haskins the belt, and the two beat the crap out of Aries and left together. I don't know whether Aries is heel or face. Very unclear. There we go. Pro Wrestling Eve. Their second show in conjunction with XWA Wrestling. Wrestle Friends. Again at the Resistance Gallery. But the deal with this one is it was 6 matches that were Pro Wrestling Eve wrestlers and XWA wrestlers. So we have Millie McKenzie over Jimmy Havoc. Jocelyn over Lord Gideon Grey. In a World of Sport match, Rocky Mack beat Costa K. Oh, wait, that was an XWA versus XWA match. So that's a bit confusing. So I guess there was 5. Doug Williams over Charlie Morgan. Nina Samuels over Caitlin Diamond, which was Eve and Eve. So, again, confusing. And Rhea O'Reilly over Cara Noir to win the XWA British Heavyweight title. So I guess Eve won 3, at least in terms of the versus ones. Who knows? From what I've heard, it was a solid show anyway. Alpha 1 up in Hamilton, Ontario. So the big stuff from this, Alex Daniels beat Shane Saber to win the Zero Gravity title. Space Monkey won the 6-way scramble. Eddie Kingston defeated Brett Michael David. Anthony Green and Gregory Iron are the new tag champs, beating the former champs, Western Med Connection of Jim Nye and Dr. Daniel C. Rockingham, and the other team, which was the Mean Team of Eric Carney and Jesse Bieber. For the Southside Wrestling title, heavyweight title, Ethan Page successfully retained in the 4-way elimination over Josh Briggs, Mark Wheeler, and Kobe Durst. Kobe Durst eliminated first by Mark Wheeler, and then Ethan took out Wheeler and then Briggs to retain. Josh Alexander beat Abyss in an ODQ match, and Ricochet and Page retained the Alpha Male title over Alessandro Del Bruno. Freelance Wrestling's return to the Logan Square Auditorium, delayed by a week because of the bad weather, but it did happen, with a little bit of adjustments to the card. Gringo Loco won the 6-way scramble. Kobe Durst over Elliot Paul. Stevie Fierce beat Anthony Henry. The 4-Star Heroes retained the tag titles in a 3-way over the M-Word and the Viking War Party. Craig Mitchell beat James Drake. And Darren Corbin beat Ethan Page, Isaias Velasquez, and Space Monkey to become #1 contender to the Freelance Wrestling title, as I sort of predicted when we talked about it the last time. So yeah, Sugar Dunkelson, whatever you want to call him, if he comes back from the UK, probably is facing Corbin somewhere down the line. PWX's Battlefield. The Ugly Ducklings retained the tag titles. Mason Miles qualified for the Battlefield X Rumble, which was later on in the night. He didn't win it, though. It was won by Ethan Case. I think that means he gets a title shot somewhere down the line, or title shot of his choosing. I'm not sure. So, Pro Wrestling Revolver. Some stuff happened on here, because obviously this is one of the 3 Naito shows. I'm only mentioning 2. Because it sort of was a follow-up from this, what went down. So, Jessica Havoc beat Shotzi Blackheart to retain the AEW Women's title on this show. Palmer retained the Open Invitational title in a scramble match against a load of people. The Besties in the World beat Zero Gravity and Night Riders. The Dirty. I think that was a triple threat tag title match. I'm not sure. It says Zero Gravity are champions. John Murray beat Man Scout Jake Manning to retain the Rockstar Pro World title. And then the main event, Tetsuya Naito beating Michael Elgin with a Destino. Yeah. And this is where it gets awkward, because obviously from what we heard from the AAW owner, which we'll get to, Elgin was the guy that was pretty instrumental in getting Naito over to America for these shows, which may in turn might be something that has to be done through somebody else. So yeah, the AAW show from the 17th. We had wrestling, beating 0-4K, Paco over Hakeem Zayn, Ace Romero, Maxwell Jacob Friedman in a 4-way. Jeff Cobb beat Desmond Xavier. The Besties in the World beat Stephen Wolf and Trey Miguel. And then Myron Reed beat Michael Elgin in basically 4 minutes. Throughout this entire match, the fans were booing and booing and booing and didn't care. Because, obviously, with the situation that's going on with Elgin, and, you know, whatever needs to be established from that, because now it's into legal proceedings, so I don't want to say too much. Basically, Danny Daniels, who's the owner of AEW, came up to said, you know, I apologise, you know, my goal was to put together the best show possible. Elgin made the whole weekend with Naito possible for free company, so I wanted to be loyal. Elgin's a friend of his. He knows his family's been going through a difficult time, so I wanted to help him out as he's helped AEW out. But clearly, you know, he made an error here because of the way it was received. It's not, as he says, it isn't a who's right and who's wrong decision on the personal issues. That's his business. He wanted to put out the best product, because that's obviously the main concern, is whether the fans are going to like it. We put 9 matches out with the best talent, and it didn't work. And apparently other Chicago groups have been putting out messages that fans should support them because we're good people, because we don't book him. Danny went on to continue to say that it was his decision to put the show on. Put Elgin on the show, didn't force him, but wanted to give the fans a load of great matches. Apparently, Naito Elgin was really good for the Pro Wrestling Revolver show, so he made the decision that he was going to be as part of the show. That being said, AEW Pro will not have Michael Elgin on their shows, at least for the time being. The company's built on listening to the audience. Apologises again. My intention's always been to give something extra on every show as a thank you. It's not the first mistake I've done, as it's challenging. Again, if you choose not to support us, I fully understand, and thank you for helping us grow throughout the years. We don't take paydays, we do it for the fans, so again, I apologise for the mistake. So yeah. Made clear, obviously, that probably, at least in some people's eyes, the barrier was crossed, sort of thing. Because I haven't seen the show, I can't properly, you know, speak for it and everything. But yeah, I can see why, for sure. Wrestle Circus, the show must go on, from the 17th. So the big stuff from this, Andy Dalton and Gregory James beat the boys to become #1 contenders to the tag belts. And Shane Strickland beat Scorpio Sky to get a #1 contender shot for the Ringmaster title. So yes, he's back in the hunt again. Then in the elimination match, Chelsea Green beat Leva Bates dressed as Zack Ryder, along with Christy James and Deonna Purrazzo. James eliminated by Deonna first, then Leva eliminated Deonna, and Chelsea took out Leva to win in the end. Masada beat Brody King. Afterwards, Jordan Lennox beat Matt Cross and El Hider Fantasma. From what I remember from the stipulations, Masada and Jordan now face each other at the next show on March 17th. Brian Cage beat Tessa Blanchard to become Ringmaster and the new Sideshow champion. Now we jump into Evolve, the big ones. Evolve 100. So, Dickinson and Yaka, I said the stuff to take from this. Dickinson and Yaka retained the tag belts because their match for the end went to a no contest. Not sure what happened there. Keith Lee beat R. Fox to retain the WWN title, and Zack Sabre Jr. beat Austin Theory with Priscilla Kelly to retain the Evolve title. Matt Riddle then came out to sort of like challenge Zack, and then Austin Theory beat him down, saying, you know, I'm getting my opportunity again. And it's like, you already had yours. Amazingly, he actually was in the #1 contenders match on the next night. We'll get to that. Actually, come to think of it, that was the only, from the Jop and Maryland show, that was the only match of any real significance, at least in terms of what's coming up for WrestleMania weekend, as it stands. I guess the one thing as well, in the no-holds-barred match, Keith Lee beat Hot Sauce Tracy Williams. But then, so yeah, it's a 4-way elimination to get a #1 contender for the Evolve World title at WrestleMania weekend, featuring Darby Allin, Matt Riddle, Yaka, and Austin Theory. Allin eliminated Theory to be the first one out, so it's like, what a great promo to end the last show with. Yaka eliminated Allin, and then Matt Riddle got Tombstone Pole Driver Yaka. So we're getting Riddle versus Sabre Jr. for the Evolve title. WrestleMania weekend. Sounds fun. Sounds very fun. National Pro Wrestling Day from Chikara. Some interesting stuff happened here. So yeah, the Beach Bums lost to Cornelius Crummels and Sonny Defarge. So yeah, the heels progress into the Tag World Grand Prix later on in March. But the Beach Bums were well received, so we'll have to see what happens there. Travis Huckabee's proud of the 2 points that he's got. You know, he and the rest of the rookies aren't soft. And Gulak shows up and takes exception, and then they head to the ring. And Gulak beats him. So Huckabee loses his 2 points. Rory's on 2 now. Officer Warren Barksdale squashed Clothesline Curtis. But then Blank came out before his match with the Boar and says, I may have challenged the Boar, but I didn't say I was challenging. Meet my first creation and the member of Nouveau Aesthetic, because that's the stable, Ursa Minor and the Night Sky. These names are going to get better, don't worry. So Ursa Minor won, Boar lost. Big surprise, actually, you could say. Then the bigger surprise, Silverhawk and Razorhawk aren't in the Tag World Grand Prix, because they got beaten by Joey Janela and Penelope Ford. Yes, Penelope is technically, officially now part of Chikara. And they're going to be part of the Tag World Grand Prix stuff in March. I am excited. Legitimately. Then Blank says he's going to unveil another member of the stable on the Hour of Power show. We'll get to that in a bit. Ophidian beat Frightmare. Once again, sort of snapping Frightmare's arms with one of the Forgotten Holds, and then the Ophidian Death Grip. So Frightmare has to submit. The new Green Ant 2, I guess we could call him, making his Chikara debut next week officially. It's Hermit Crab. Then, in the Tomiko's contest, the Creatures of the Deep versus the Throwbacks, Fire Ant and Hype Rockwell. There was a magic move with a vertical suplex, so everybody there would get a free thing. And yeah, the vertical suplex magic move was hit. There you go. Nice stuff. The Whisper then beat Tony Deppen to defend the Young Lions Cup again. Tony Deppen with a good debut, and that was Whisper's last defense of the Cup, as the Cup will be given up, obviously, for the tournament coming up in a month or so. With the Whisper with a new finisher, apparently, some sort of Vertebreaker DVD hybrid style move. But yeah, Whisper unmasked, he's still actually pretty good. So then Ophidian, holding the 17 mask, admits that he infiltrated the Flood to protect Chikara because nobody else could or would do it. And then Fire Ant beat the crap out of him, with Bryce Remsburg, the new director of fun, as in the person in charge, basically saying, not here, not now. So yeah, and as noted in here from the write-up from, let me get the right title of it, IamChikara.tumblr.com, get the right details. What would have happened a few years back if Ophidian hadn't stopped Deucalion, the guy that basically murdered a load of people, murdering Frightmare. Or did any of this have even happened? So, interesting stuff there. Then the closers beat Los Ice Creams to win the Campeonatos de Parejas. So yeah, in their first defense, they lost. So, there you go. I think it was a squash match as well, from what I remember. Yeah, 2-0. And then the main event, by DQ, Oleg wins, but obviously that means Juan Francisco de Coronado is still the Grand Champion. Basically, Kobold showed up, pulled Bryce from the ring, hit Oleg with a pipe. Then Hallowicked watched with Kobold as Frightmare came out to destroy Oleg. So, yeah, interesting stuff there. And then PWG, the Neon Night Show. So Adam Brooks beat Brody King. I can't remember who it was supposed to be that Brody King was replacing, but the key thing was Brody King is a local guy. And he was really well over. This, from what I remember, has influenced the new card. Because for the first time in a while, they're doing a California Wrestler 4-way special on the next PWG show. They haven't done one of them in quite a while, so it's good to see the local talent getting an opportunity to shine on a PWG show, because that's what it originally concept was, and obviously they've changed over time, and there's been some criticism that they've sort of forgotten some of the local talent. And the fact that they're getting very well received, I think, might be a sign that we might be seeing more of them on a regular basis. We'll have to see. Dalton Castle beat Joey Janela with a bangerang in a comedy match that got serious by the end. Travis Banks over David Starr. Zack Sabre Jr. beat Flip Gordon. Keith Lee over Matt Riddle. Keith Lee breaking the ring. What is it with this guy in breaking rings? He's up there with Hero now. And then Chuck Taylor beat Trent with a low blow and a small package. And basically mauled his face up and everything. Crowd did not give a damn about this. Might be because Chuck's a heel, I don't know. So, I don't know whether this is like the Eye of Tyr in Chikara, and it's like, as soon as you have that belt, you become heel. Because it happened to Ricochet. It's happened to Chuck. It's like, great, guys. Can we have any other ideas? Can't we have heels challenging Chuck? And finally, from the results, which I'll have to just do in this video and do a second video if I can fit it. Or I might try and cram it in. So, 5-Star Wrestling from Plymouth from last week. The big stuff from this, Eddie Ryan was a beast, beating Marcus Burke, followed by HC Drake in a different match, followed by Tim Riley by DQ, and then beating Dave Mastiff and Big Grizzly in a handicap match. Crazy shit. Matt Riddle beat Mark Haskins to become the new Tap or Snap champion. In the Beat the Clock challenge, BT Gunn beat Nathan Cruz in 9 minutes and 21 seconds, and Joey Axel beat Ricky Knight Jr. in 9 minutes and 23 seconds. So, I guess BT Gunn won that. In the 8-man tag, the faces of Grado, Moose, RVD, and Mysterio beat Gibson, Brown, and Max Money. The Fight Network beat the Pilgrims' match never started, so who knows what that is, because Tor and Hagen destroyed the hell out of them. And Jake Hager beat Eddie Ryan in the main event. Wait, so he had like 4 matches beforehand, and then... And the finish came when Jack Jester and Bram attacked Eddie Ryan with a glass bottle on the outside. I'm confused. I should have watched this. But, you know, cinema, live theatre, It gets in the way. Fight Club Pros tribute to Francois Debec. So Amari won a scramble, then got attacked by Mark Haskins, who was also in that scramble. Jordan Devlin beat MK McKinnon. Mustache Mountain over Team Suplex of Sabre Jr. and Angelico. Volta over David Starr. Pete Dunne beat Matt Riddle. Aussie Open beat the South Pacific Serial Killers of Jonah Rock and Travis Banks. Another name. Chris Brooks beat Millie McKenzie to retain the Fight Club Pro title. Then the interesting thing is, it looks as if Millie had won after using the belt, but Shea Purser restarted the match. So is using the belt heel move? But then Kid Lycos and Ginny got involved and cost Millie the match. But then afterwards, Brooks, Lycos, and Ginny beat down Millie McKenzie. So it's like, wait, are they the heels? The locker room emptied and Brooks went, nobody can take the title from me. And then Martin Zaki went, really? Okay. The next event, the Dream Tag Team Invitational, over Easter weekend, you're defending against Miko Satomura. I applaud this. Can't find any results for Preston City Wrestling show from this past weekend, nor Smash Wrestling's Fateful 8 tag tournament thing. So Southside had 3 shows over 2 days. So up in Sheffield, nothing really significant happened on the afternoon show. Because it was just basically Big Grizzly beating Joseph Connors, who was one half of the tag team champs, and El Ligero beating David Starr, El Ligero being the other tag team champs. No titles are on the line for this one. However, in the evening there were Ethan Page retained the Southside World title, basically challenging Kaylee Ray to a match because she was out there anyway. So then here's the confusing one. Gracie, Alex Gracie that is, was beaten by Visage, and then LJ Heron, and then Ruby Radley, and then Rockstar Harry, and then Joel Allen. Why he had 5 matches, I'm not sure. I don't know whether they were trying to copy 5-star wrestling. Hardcore Holly beat David Starr. The reason why I say that is because later on in the night, Gracie was in a tag title match with Lucas Archer against the champs of Connors and Ligero. Obviously, Connors and Ligero won because Gracie got murdered. So, like, what? And Robbie X beat Andrew Everett in the main event street fight. The following day, on the Sunday, Battle of the Egos. So Kaylee Ray retained the Queen of Southside's title on this one over Bobby Tyler. Then Sean Custom, who won a 4-way against Ricky Knight Jr., Kelly Six, and Adam Brooks, said he wanted a shot at the Southside World title. And Ben Old, who I guess is heel, said, okay, you've got one. But only if you beat Joey Janela on May the 6th. It's like, wait, you've got like 2 or 3 shows in between then. Ethan Page beat Bradley Phillips to retain the Southside World title. Other stuff happened, but again, because of time, I'm sort of having to hurry through it. Progress I will go through in detail, though. Chapter 64, the Thunder Bastards are go. Yeah, the Thunder Bastards back. So in the pre-show, Sugar Rush of Candy Floss and Zoe Lucas beat Jade and Shax. Sexy Star of Jack Sexsmith and David Starr beat the Anti-Fun Police of Los Ferradeles Santos Jr. and Chief Deputy Dunn. Afterwards, Sexsmith called out Jimmy Havoc and Mark Haskins for next month's show. That should be an interesting tag team event. Charlie Morgan beat Millie McKenzie. Ginny hit McKenzie in the head, which allowed Morgan to hit a DDT and get the win. Mark Davis beat Maverick Mayhew in the first of the Natural Progression quarterfinals to progress on. Then the Grizzled Young Veterans beat Havoc and Haskins to get the tag titles back. So that title change was maybe unnecessary. So the big thing with this was Jimmy Havoc was injured and was carried to the back, but Gibson coaxed Haskins into continuing the match alone, and then Havoc eventually returned and got pinned. So there we go. Zack Sabre Jr. beat Jonah Rock, and then the Thunder Bastard happened. Instead of 7, there was actually 8 people, because we had, in order of entrance, Tyler Bate, Chris Brooks, TK Cooper, Trent Seven, the added in, from what I remember, Eddie Dennis, Flash Morgan Webster, Pete Dunne, and Mark Andrews. So TK Cooper eliminated Eddie Dennis, so Eddie was first gone. Then Pete Dunne got DQ'd. Don't know what happened there. TK Cooper took out Trent Seven. Chris Brooks eliminated TK Cooper. Storyline stuff there. Mandrews took out Chris Brooks. Tyler Bate eliminated Mark Andrews. And Flash Morgan Webster beat Tyler Bate. So Flash Morgan Webster wins the Thunder Bastard. Which I think means basically he's getting a title shot somewhere down the line. So Travis Banks beat Matt Riddle in the main event to retain the Progress World title. The fans are apparently booing him. They weren't happy that he retained. So I don't know whether it's because that's the power of Riddle, or whether he's now turning heel just by default. But then here comes Flash Morgan Webster, along with Vicky Haskins, of course, and basically says he's coming for the title. Considering Progress has got a few shows in New Orleans, it'd be a bit of a coup if something happened there. So Femme Fatale, they haven't really had a show in like over a year, but they came back in combination with C4's venue, the Vania Columbus Club in Ottawa. The big stuff from this is the title finally changed hands. Vanessa Craven beating Mercedes Martinez to win with a choke bomb. After a ref bump, Tessa Blanchard came in with a belt shot to Craven, but Britt Baker made out the save, and then Craven recovered from it, hit her finisher on Martinez to, crown a new champion. Also on that show, Tessa Blanchard beat Britt Baker, Jessica Havoc over Samantha Height, Sandra Bale over Stephanie Sinclair, Stacey Tabo and Misty Heaven beat Death Flash, Avanji Sky and Pink Flash Kira, and Lexia Nicole over Casey Spinelli. CWF Mid-Atlantic. The big stuff from this one, in a non-title match, Ethan Alexander Sharp pinned the PWI International Heavyweight Champ Britt Converse. So possibly a title challenge somewhere down the line. CWF Mid-Atlantic Tag Champs, the Dawson Brothers, beat the Mid-Atlantic Outlaws to retain the belts. And then in a near 1 hour match, Trevor Lee beats Roy Wilkins in the main event, no ropes, no DQ, heavyweight unification title match. Because basically Trevor Lee was the legitimate champion, Roy Wilkins took the belt and refused to give it back. So now, officially Trevor Lee's undisputed. So is it the end of an era again? Who knows? Because the era's still going on, because Trevor's still champion. The first hour of power for Shikara happened. Green Ant 2 lost. But Bryce apparently was impressed, even though he lost. And it looks like he's going to be in the Young Lions Cup. I'll run through that when we get to it, which I think is coming up soon. Hermit Crab's got 1 point, by the way. Then Blank comes out with Ursa Maena, but his second thing is Still Alive with Apricots and Pears. Basically, it looks exactly the same as Ursa Minor, except like there's different blotches and colour spots on him. Nouveau Aesthetic beat Razorhawk and Nighthawk, so the Hawks are going well in this group, aren't they? Then Icarus over Travis Huckabee. Icarus won, and Icarus said something to Travis afterwards before leaving, like in disgust. So it's like, it's interesting. Travis is peeving off quite a lot of the long-time workers and, the lifeblood of Shikara. So, interesting stuff there. So, before the next match happens, Oceana and the Creatures of the Deep show up and says how she's lost friends, loved ones, and her sister, which made her weak and got her nowhere. She went to a dark place and realised that she didn't need any of them. She found her purpose and is stronger for it. And has grand plans, pointing out that obviously Hermit Crab beat Green Ant, Crawdad will win the Young Lions Cup, and she and Murloc will be Tag World Grand Prix champs. And made it seem like her end goal was winning the Infinite Gauntlet, before saying that nobody can stop her creatures. I think we've got early contenders for King of Trios winners there, possibly, guys. Just saying. So the Proteus wheel beat some of Professor Nicodemus's clones, which apparently, you know, that's Clothesline Curtis, the squash match, you know, that we had on the previous show. Bobby Slam Body and somebody else, because they never really said the names. It was just like, it's Professor Nicodemus's monsters. So, whatever. Oh, sorry, the Proteus wheel is Nicodemus's monsters. But yeah, basically, Jobber squash. And then Frightmare and Oleg in their match, from what I can tell, went to a no contest. Because Oleg jumped Frightmare from the crowd, but then Kobold showed up. Frightmare hit a low blow right in front of the ref. Bryce left commentary to threaten Frightmare and Kobold with fines. They left, then came back. And then Oleg may have made a comeback because the crowd were cheering, because they then faded to black. There were some post-show dark matches that aren't included in anything, so I won't mention it. There was a debuting Fevant, so we'll see what happens there in that. But obviously that doesn't count to any of the points and everything. So yeah, that's that. CZW's debut in Asbury Park, New Jersey. So the big stuff from this: Mike Dell retained the Dojo Wars Medal of Valor title over Kit Osborne. Oh, sorry, Kit Osborne won. I take it back, I wasn't reading it properly. The Rep retained the tag belts over Private Party. Penelope Ford's open challenge was answered by Layla Hirsch. The interesting thing is, Layla Hirsch, we only got this name because apparently the person doing this write-up looked on social media for her. The really impressive thing is this was one of the best matches, apparently. It's like, brilliant. No notice. What's that all about? G-Raver and Stockade were against Brandon Kirk, and the mystery partner was DJ Hyden in a suit. Then Desmond Xavier beat Jonathan Gresham, and Ricky Shane Page beat Matt Tremont to retain the bloody brawl that was the CZW title match. So afterwards, Brandon Kirk challenged Ricky Shane Page for the title, but Tremont said, "I'm still the man around here," because obviously he's co-owner, and if Kirk wants Ricky Shane Page, you've got to face Tremont in a Tangled Web match at the next show in Voorhees, which I think, if I have a look at my notey notes, is possibly April. I don't know whether they've got a show in March. Let's have a look. CZW Wrestling. Have they got anything listed for March? Just to double check, because it's not. Of course, it's taking forever to load. Apologies, everybody. Oh yeah, CZW's Proving Grounds on March 10th. I'm guessing that's the Voorhees show. WSU coming soon. Oh, that's good. I haven't forgotten that. They're doing a Tangled Web match at a show that isn't a Tangled Web match at the show. That's interesting. AIW. There, we've got a Dilemma show. Emma was obviously on it. Tennille Dashwood. She beat Britt Baker. The production beat No Consequences in the 5-on-5 match. Interestingly, afterwards, though, Josh Prohibition made his return. Saved Joshua Bishop from a 5-on-1 assault, but then Prohibition turned on Bishop and challenged him to a match at the Enter the Dragon show next weekend in Ohio. We also had Nick Gage retain the Absolute title over Tracy Williams, and Joey Janela retain the Intense title over DJZ. Filthy Tom Lawler beat Dominic Guarini, so I'm guessing he must have sustained the injury sometime this weekend then, if he did that match. Maxwell Jacob Freeman beat Colt Cabana as well, along with other stuff. Sorry to, obviously, again, I'm noticing the time we're way over where I wanted to be. That's me holding off for too long. So Beyond Wrestling and Blitzkrieg Pro. So some of the big stuff from here. Nick Gage beating Joey Janela. Tracy Williams over Maxwell Jacob Freeman. Skyler over Jordan Grace. Ricky Shage beat Josh Briggs. Orange Cassidy defeated Bril Carr. Doom Patrol over American Strong. DJZ defeated Brandon Watts. Amityville Project beat Massage MV. Martin Stone over Wheeler Yuta. And Janelope beating the Beaver Boys. The vacant Blitzkrieg Pro tag titles in the evening show were won by the Closers, beating Massage MV and the Breakfast Club. And Mark Sterling retained the Bedlam title over Skyler. Those are the only 2 title matches on that one. And Sabu was randomly on the show, beating Jeremy Leary. Because the Closers are Brad Hollister and Hammer Tunis, apparently, in Blitzkrieg. Even though I'm pretty sure it's a different combination of them in Chikara. That's confusing. And then Beyond Wrestling, Abondanza from Worcester, Massachusetts, rather than over in Enfield, Connecticut, where they were the previous night. Janelope beat Doom Patrol. Josh Briggs over DJZ. Team Paug over the Beaver Boys. Massage MB. And Johnny Cockstrong versus Dick Justice, Shockwave the Robot, and Cockstrong went to a no contest because Shockwave the Robot malfunctioned. In the GCW Heavyweight Title 20,000 Thumbtack match, Nick Gage retained over Ricky Shane Page. Amityville Project beat Viking War Party and the Hooligans. Wheeler Yuta beat Maxwell Jacob Friedman to win the tournament for tomorrow, eventually. Well, it should have been New Year's Eve, but I can't remember who no-showed and got kicked out of the tournament. EYFBO beat American Strong, and then the injured Jonathan Gresham probably shouldn't have put his title on the line because we have a new champion. Tracy Williams beat the champ as well as Martin Stone in a triple threat elimination match to become the new Powerbomb.tv independent champion. Then we come to Ring of Honor, the Japan shows. So, night 1, in terms of title matches, Goto beat Beer City Bruiser, unsurprisingly. And then Paige, Skull, and Cody beat Ibushi, Omega, and Owens. So, yeah, Cody's side, sort of, well, side, if you want to call it that, going over. The big thing to note as well, in somewhat of a surprise, Flip Gordon beat Kushida and Hiromu in a triple threat. So an interesting win there for Flip, and he was pretty well received as well. The one thing as well is with these Japanese shows, it's weird to see the Japanese crowd doing English sort of chants like Gordon, like, okay. Night 2 had some interesting stuff as well, though. Bad Luck Fale and the Gorillas retaining the 6-man tag belts over Liger, Delirious, and Cheeseburger. Hiromu pinned Flip in a tag match. Gordon was teaming with Taguchi to face Bushi and Takahashi. Jay White. So, Jay White, Yoshihashi, and Chucky T versus Page and the Young Bucks. Hangman pinned White. So, afterwards, Page hit White again with a rite of passage onto a chair and held up the US title. I think they're having that match as well at Long Beach at the end of March. Dalton Castle beat Beretta and the Beer City Bruiser in what became a 3-way. Apparently he was that determined to bring Gold back to America with him and attack both of them, so that's why he got added in. And then the weird one, the Golden Lovers versus Cody and Skull. The reason why I say it's weird is because Cody forced Marty to grab Ibushi and then kissed him on the lips. Afterwards, even though they lost, because Ibushi and Omega won with the Golden Star Trigger on Skull, Cody was like, once you've had Cody, you never go back. So it's like, weird angle, but there we go. So, in terms of the stuff coming this weekend, I really hope this video isn't too long. AAA, Raider Reyes this Sunday, live on Twitch if you want to see it. We've got 4 Raider Reyes semi-finals featuring Angelical, Dave the Clown, Pimpinela Escalata, and Mystery Person 1 in Semi-1. Semi-2 has Bengala, Dark Scoria, Mascara de Bronze, and Mystery Person 2. El Herde Vaquino, Angel Mortal Jr., Dark Quavo, and Mystery Person 3 in Semi-Final 3. And La Parca Dynastia Venom and Mystery Person 4 in Quarter-Final 4. The 4 winners will go on to face each other later on in the night in a 4-way to crown the Raider Reyes champion. We've also got a TLC match with Averno, Chessman, and Superfly versus Carter Brava Jr., Mocha Kota Jr., and Tito Santana. I don't think that one. In a 4v4 match, we've got Wagner Jr., La Mascala, Maximo, and Psycho Clown taking on Hernandez, El Hill de Dr. Wagner Jr., Monster Clown, and Murder Clown. And then the Hair versus Mask match main event, El Hill de Fantasma versus Tejano Jr. Dragon Gate, Japan, back to Kurikan Hall on March 6th. The big stuff on this, we've got the Open the Awari Gate title with Ryo Saito defending against Shingo Takagi. And Kotoka's retirement match as he teams up Naruki Doi, Masato Yoshino, Chima, and Dragon Kid to face the other team of Masaki Mochizuki, Yamato, Yosuke Santa Maria, Don Fuji, and Kagetora. 5-star wrestling this Thursday. The only card that we have is Rey Mysterio versus Adam Flex Maxted and the Modcast with special guest Zach Gibson. Supposedly Jake Hager's going to be on the show as well. The reason why I mention these guys in Belfast and what they're doing is because, and this is logistically possible just about, as long as the weather isn't shit, which it sort of is, so who knows what happens here. Northeast Wrestling, Wrestling Under the Stars, are having a benefit show this Friday night in Waterbury, Connecticut. A benefit fundraiser for the Waterbury Police Activity League. The show's being headlined by Mysterio teaming up with Flip Gordon to face Joey Mercury and Caleb Conley. So I don't know if Mysterio can't make it over, they're going to have to change that. The other thing is, I'm pretty sure it listed, yeah, no. So that's happening. I thought I saw somebody else's name. I thought Jake. Oh no, the other thing with Jake Hager. And again, I don't know whether he's on television yet. Apparently, he showed up at Lucha Underground. We'll get into that with the TV stuff because it's only sort of mild spoilers and whatever. But he was at some of the tapings last weekend, which obviously they could do because they were doing the shows later on in the week, like Saturday, Sunday time-ish, from what I remember. Apparently the tapings this week are Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So if he is showing up, he's going to have to show up probably on maybe the Friday, if not the Saturday show, or the set tapings, or whatever it is. We'll get into that because there's some interesting names that are showing up. We don't really know a lot of the matches, and I don't really want to spoil it because obviously we'll cover that when we actually get to the shows. But some of the names are pretty interesting, so we'll certainly prop them up. speaking of this WrestleFest show, I might as well continue on with it. Mick Foley will be in the house as long as be involved somehow in a match, apparently. Emma, Tennille Dashwood faces Gianna Perazzo. The Young Bucks, Matt Taven and Marty Scurll will be making appearances. Wrecking Ball and Gursky will face Josh Briggs one-on-one. Brad Hollister versus Matt Riddle. Oh, that's a thing. Yeah, Matt Riddle. If he's the Tap or Snap champion, is he going on the same plane with Mysterio? I'm guessing so. King Brian Anthony versus Man Scout Jake Manning. Hale Collins, or I guess Vic Hale. I don't know. Thanks for putting their real names on Facebook. Facing Ron Zombie. Adrenaline Rush defend the tag belts against Kanzagami and Robbie E. Chris Battle, Sexy Bull Dread and Christian Casanova in a triple threat. There'll also be appearances from Tito Santana and Lanny Poffo as well. Tickets from $20. I'll mention that because it's a charity event. So yeah, that is Wilby High School in Wartburg, Connecticut. I'll just run over that again. Back to the UK, and Europe, I guess. OTT in Ireland, Outer Space Odyssey 4, floating in the most peculiar way. I see what they got the idea from. March 3rd, their Dublin show. Session Moth will defend her gender-neutral title against Pete Dunne. Jordan Devlin and the Kings of the North in a six-man tag over with Mark Haskins and Aussie Open. Over. I don't even know the results. Haven't even been to Dublin. Probably should. But then again, I need a passport, so I haven't got that yet. Zack Sabre Jr. versus David Starr. Scotty Davis versus Adam Brooks. A six-man tag match with B Cool, I'm Cool, and Big Daddy Cool versus Angel Cruz and two mystery partners. That's a lot of cool. Rev Pro, live at the Cockpits this Sunday in London. The match is confirmed so far. Jody Fleisch versus David Starr. Zach Gibson, Josh Bodon versus Team White Wolf. Flash Morgan Webster versus Adam Brooks. Zack Sabre Jr. versus El Phantasmo. And Curtis Chapman putting the Cruiserweight title on the line against Chief Deputy Dunn. IPW on Wednesday has a new Milton Keynes show. The Collective put the tag belts on the line against Shea Samuels and Luke Phoenix. Kip Sabian puts the Z-Force title on the line against Curtis Chapman. And Mark Haskins versus Simon Grimm. Obviously, because we're a week ahead, not all the matches are obviously confirmed for that, so you can get more details over on IPW's Facebook page and website and everything. We've also got Destiny Wrestling doing their combination thing with Border City Wrestling and Impact Wrestling in terms of the taping the special Impact show for broadcast on Twitch, which I believe will be up like next Friday the 9th, from what I remember. Tickets are from $25 to $100. For what is basically an indie show, that I think is possibly a bit too much. Just saying. WWN and ACW are presenting Luck of the Irish over on Saturday. The 3 title matches standing out at least. The combat title on the line with Saeed El Saba defending against Eddie Torres. Snoop Strikes defending the Cruiserweight title against Hunter Law. And the tag belts up for grabs with Precipice of Chance defending against that classic tag team of Kiko Harris and Cody Castle. Because K's, you see. Because classics with a K. And then Ring of Honor, the complicated one. Manhattan Mayhem. The reason why I say it's complicated, there's a heck of a lot of people's choice stuff with this. So we got a Women of Honor match with Tennille Dashwood and Gianna Perazzo versus Sumi Sakai and Jenny Rose. Caprice's Coleman's Pulpit will have a special guest, which is picked by the fans. You can actually go to Ring of Honor's website and pick it yourself, so even if you're not there, you can still have an influence. The choices are Cheeseburger, Ultimo Guerrero, Flip Gordon, Delirious, Kelly Klein, Gary Juicer, and Colt Cabana. Then we've got Kenny King and a Fans' Choice tag team to take on Silas Young, Beerseek Bruce, and Brian Malonis. The choices are the Motor City Machine Guns, the Briscoes, Coast to Coast, the Kingdom, and Best Friends. The 4 teams that don't get picked will then go into a 4-corner survival tag match. We've got Dalton Castle and Volador Jr. versus Jay Lethal and Otmar Guerrero. Punishment Martinez taking on Soberano Jr. Cody versus Flip Gordon, with the stipulation being chosen by the fans of either a lumberjack match, 2 out of 3 falls match, or if Gordon beats Cody, he's booked on All In. Complicated stipulation because that's a stipulation within a stipulation, stipulationception. And then the main event, the Ultimate Mayhem match. Fans get to choose a special guest commentator, whether it be Cody, Bully Ray, the Dogs, Caprice Coleman, Mandy Leon, or BJ Whitmer. The match itself, though, Daniels, Kazarian, and Scorpio Sky teaming up with Shane Taylor to take on Marty Scurll, Adam Page, and the Young Bucks. So, yeah. Didn't have time to go through UFC because I'm already an hour and a half long. I'm getting out of here to make sure that the video is long enough. Very well. I'll see you next on, hopefully, covering. I might be recovering as well from whatever. Covering the TV stuff from the past week. You know, be it Raw, SmackDown, Mixed Match Challenge, 205 Live, NXT, Impact for the past few weeks. If I can think of the other stuff. Ring of Honor, Defiance, Lucha Underground, sort of notes, whatever. And UFC. That's it. I've gone too long. Bye-bye.